What's up, y'all? KendaMa, and we're here with another Kendama video. I am behind a year on this, but we're gonna come back with consistency. Today I have the top 10 Kendamas of 2022. Didn't do 2021, I'm sorry about that, but I'm coming back with 2022 and we're doing 5 more to make up for it. To go off the basis of this video, these are Kendamas that I have, so I'm not going to be including any Kendamas that I do not have but know about or played a little bit but do not possess. I just don't think that's fair because I didn't really play them that much. They had to have come out in 2022 or before 2022 to make it on this list. So yeah, I got a good amount of Kendamas and I feel like I'll be able to make a pretty good list with this. With the rankings, it doesn't mean that those companies are worse or better than the other. It's just the Kendamas, the shape, and how they play and how I feel about it. I would be very ignorant to say this is going to be objective. This is my personal opinion, and if you disagree with it, let me know in the comments down below. We can chat about it. Let's get into the video right now. First, we got to go with an honorable mention, and that is going to be the Analog Kendama 2021/2021.5. Analog didn't really come out with anything till the end of the year, and I'm fully aware they came out with a new shape, but I don't have it, so I can't put it on this list. Now, this would have been my number 1 in 2021. I didn't make the video, but I really love this Kendama like a lot. It's just that this year there are other shapes that came out and this wasn't really doing anything better or different from the other shapes, so that's why it's in the honorable mentions and not even in the top 10. Now let's get into the list itself. At the number 10 spot, I'm gonna get flamed for this, but the Soul 1-Up. I'm fully aware that this is a really good shape. There hasn't really been any alterations in the shape, and it's a good all-around shape. Like, it was number 3 when I did my 2020 video, but there are just so many other shapes doing things different, and even though this can kind of hang with them in terms of doing lunars and slingers along with those other shapes, and it's pretty like bare bones and just gets to the point, the shapes above this just have things a little bit different that I prefer, that I think, you know, this does belong at number 10. Awesome colorways from Soul and awesome collabs with Soul, but yeah, the 1-Up is going to be at 10. Great Kendama, but it's at 10. At the number 9 spot, we have the Lofty Craft Horizon. Now, it's right above the 1-Up shape because some of the parts are inspired by the 1-Up shape and some other Kendama shapes that make this just a tad bit better. I personally think that this Kendama not having a balance hole and being able to be good without a balance hole makes it above the 1-Up, because sometimes the 1-Up, it just has such a heavy base cup. I have a non-base hole one and just it can't lunar. This, without a base cup hole, can lunar, and it's pretty crazy. The slingers on this thing are also really nice as well, just because of the hole right here makes it really great. Obviously Apex 2 or whatever clear coat or whatever Tommy you want to put on this Ken makes it good. It is, again, a bare bones Kendama. There's nothing really that makes it different. The cup sizes are what's standard in today's terms, so they're big, but they're not like extremely big like a Lotus or something like that. Not much else to say about it. It's not really doing anything too crazy, and I enjoy my play experience with this, but some of the other stuff above this I enjoy playing a little bit more. At the number 8 spot, again, I'm probably gonna get flamed for this, but I have the Amped at number 8. This shape is pretty good, and when it came out, like, I tried it and I was really impressed, but it's just really long, and that doesn't make it a bad shape. It's just I don't personally like the feeling of long Kens. Something cool about long Kens is that when you flip them, though, they feel like very straight when you flip them, and it's cool because of the way this thing is shaped. The slingers are great. The one thing I don't necessarily like about how long this is and how short in terms of width the Serato is that the lunars, they're good, they land nicely, but they just don't feel good when you lace them. Now, I can't show you that. It's just a feeling thing, and that's why I personally don't like it. Like, you can do the trick, you can't not do the trick. It's just that it just doesn't feel as good as the other shapes above this. I will say it's a really good all-around Kendama, though. Like, because of how long this thing is, the juggling is dope and it's nice. I do see where this derives from the Boost, and the Boost was a shape they used for a long time, and they came out popping with the Amped shape. So yeah, it's really cool. Also, the colorways, the collabs, like this Demon Slayer colorway right here, just, you can't beat sweets when it comes to that. But in terms of playing of the Ken, yeah, it's at number 8. Number 9, we have the Atomic Kendama TK1. So this is a shape I actually really enjoyed a lot when I was playing it. It's a smaller shape, and it's doing something different from a lot of Kendama companies today, in that it is shorter. The reason that I like this a lot is because it's doing something different from other shapes. It's a lot shorter in terms of the sword height, and I really like the feeling of that because it's a throwback to like old school Kendamas. It still has big cups. Flipping this, because of at least the way it's on mine, it was pretty light, so flipping it really fast was really easy and really awesome. They have some awesome colorways as well. Lunar bounce is on point. The base cup size is on point, even though it doesn't look like it. Like, the surface area of the base cup for like instas and stuff is great. The way the slip ring area is shaped is really nice for taps and stuff, and is super fun. I do think they do need to like update this shape because they have a really nice template right in here, and to make it better, I think that'd be awesome for Atomic Kendama, and it could really get them up in the rankings, at least for me personally. It does fall short though, because there are some things about having a smaller shape do make it less superior than the shapes above it in this list. For example, juggles are fun on this, but you have less to grip onto. So personally, on bigger Kendamas, it's just going to be easier to juggle. Not that you can't do them on these, it's just easier on bigger Kendamas. Lunar balance is great on this, but there are other Kendamas with heavier serratos, more thicker serratos that do lunars easier than this Kendama. Nice way to feel like you're playing with an old Kendama, and I really enjoy it. So Tama Kendama at the 7th spot. At the number 6 spot, topping out the lower 5 of this list, we got the Evo Kendama GV2. Fully aware the GV3 came out also this year, but I do not have it. I'm assuming it's a better shape, but I can't say anything about it. This is one of those longer shapes, and I know I said I kind of don't like longer shapes, but the way the proportions are on this make me like it a little bit more than something like the Amped, another long shape. It's overall beastly, sturdy Kendama that I enjoy playing a lot. The serrato is just not too big, not too small. It's a perfect thickness and the perfect like wideness, I feel like. The sword is a nice beefy sword. It's not too thick. It has that double ring style, which is a throwback to Evo Kendama, or before he was Evo Kendama, Kendama custom creations to his elements, which is a nice touch right there. And it just feels super refined. Also really like the burnings, like that Genesis logo on top was really dope. With this, he also paired it with his Ghost Clear, which in durability terms wasn't the best on factory painted Damas, but on natties they were great. Mine hasn't like completely peeled or anything, and I still like playing this one a lot. Lunar bounce was honed. The slingers were super honed. There's also another iteration of the GV2 where they actually drilled out the base hole just a little bit more, and that made the lunars even better, but still kept the slings on point. This is an overall solid performer, and that's why it's midway through this list. Now cracking into the top 5, at 5 we have the Kendama USA Jet Shape. This thing is really good. I can't get over how good this thing is. Like the stall points using I don't know what the community wants to call this, but just the protruding bird stalls. And the thing I like about this a lot is that it does something different from the previous shapes. The Nova was a pretty basic shape. It didn't really steer off from the previous shape at all. It's the thinner ring stall, the thick base cup, nice for taps, and the overall thick shape is really cool, and Kusa did something new when trying to make their new shape. It's really big, and I think that's why it's a little bit lower on this list than people might expect. Personally, it's just a little too chunky for me, so it almost feels like a plus-sized Kendama, and that's not a good or bad thing. That's also a preference thing. I personally just feel like it feels a little too big sometimes, and also these things like average in the 80s, so finding something below 80 is kind of tough. That's something against Kusa. It's just the wood they get, and just the nature of having a thicker shape like this, it's going to end up being heavier. That doesn't take away from how well this Kendama plays. It literally does everything so good. It just feels big, and that's why it's at number 5 on this list. At number 4 on this list, a Kendama I'm going to be reviewing soon, is the NLK Sapper. New Lace Kendama, I don't know how my man Jacob does it, but Jacob be killing it with the shapes like crazy. The Sapper is another all-around shape, but is specifically really good at lunars. I can't get over how good this thing is at lunars, like especially on this bamboo one, just like how light it is. It's super fun to flip inwards, normal lunars, everything is really good on this. Just because of the proportions of just like the thin serrato, but wide serrato, the big cups, and then the thin sword, it just flips really nicely, and it's still just like a little bit taller than the TK1 from Tama Kendama. Makes it just a little bit better when you juggle it and stuff. The base cup is also just super nice for instas and taps and such. At first, this was going to be lower on my list because in the beginning of the year, I kind of didn't really like this shape because of the slings. I think it's just because of this bamboo one, because I got to try the beach one, but that one slings well. So I just think it's the weight on this one, and thankfully I've got to try in the beach one, and that one's all around just amazing. Got it paired on this Lofty Craft Tama, so you know this thing's a lunar machine, and overall, just like it's an overall good Kendama, and the more I played it, the more I fell in love with it. Although it doesn't really look that unique, it feels so proportionate in my hand, and that's why it's at the number 4 spot. And that is why the NLK Sapper is in the number 4 spot. Not surprising, but at number 3, we have the Quad Kendama Kami. So right here, I have the Quad Kendama Kami. Just I can't get over this shape. It's basically a jet and a soul. Even though this came out before the jet, it's basically a jet and a soul. And when you average those two together in terms of size, but keeping those awesome cup stalls and keeping all those different things, it's really good. Slings are on point, lunars on point. The base cup just is beefy enough to where when you tap, it's gonna come back to you perfectly. You know, quad clear is really great. It's not the most durable. Mine kind of held up decently fine. I know other people's quad clears haven't, but I can't really speak for that. I will say not durable, but when you play it, it's freaking dope. it's dope. It's dope. When you play it, it's dope. So the quad Kendama Kami at number 3, just an overall good kendama. So shout out to AJ, shout out to quad Kendama. At the number 2 spot, y'all might think I'm really interesting for this one, but I am cool because it is the Lock Studios kendama shape. This thing is just, when I first got it, I was just kind of put off just because of it was a unique shape and didn't really feel like anything else. And then you kind of just need to get used to it. As I kept playing this, I just got really into it, and the way it flipped, the way it lunared, the way it gunslang, like it was just, it was really good. Once you get kind of past the wonkiness and realize how this has other things that make it better than other kendamas, it's great. I know this contradicts everything I've said throughout the video, but it has a short width serrato and a long sword, but it's all pretty like thick, and it makes it really interesting to play. Also, this bottom slip ring section, it's really dope to play because it's thinner and not really the shape that you would see from anything else. It's perfect though for juggles and stuff because your thumb lands perfectly in this section whenever you catch it, which makes it really fun. The thickness makes it fun to grab onto and hold back onto when you go into another trick after the juggle. The thickness of this serrato makes it ungodly for lunar, and the weight here and the base cup area makes it ungodly for lunars. The space he has for gunslingers right there is perfect though, so it's an awesome lunar and gunslinger kendama. Because of the way this kendama is weighted, like just J-sticking, any flip just feels so good, and that's why when I got used to it, it just clicked for me and I really enjoyed this shape. It was just one of those things where I kept throwing it in my bag every single day, and I picked it up over my kendamas and I kept playing it 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 and I kept playing it, and there's just nothing else I can really say about it. It's also run by one of the most awesome dudes in the kendama community. Dom Danny is just a dope guy, so happy to play kendama, and is making awesome shapes, doing big things by collabing with other companies. Like, he deserves all the success in the world. So yeah, we got the Lock Studio shape at number 2 on this list. Now you're probably wondering, I like the Lock Studio shape so much, how is something above it? Well, one of the greatest kendama companies in my opinion has come out with this shape in the last 2 years that is just an overall really good kendama. They're really active on Facebook, on their Instagram, and are always coming out with new kendama shapes, new designs, and they really, like, almost when I see their prices, I'm like, they're not in this for the money, like, at all, just because of the quality and just how good their shape is and stuff. Like, they could be charging a little bit more in my opinion. But Serial Kendamas Hybrid 2 is the number 1 kendama for me for 2022. How this looks like a regular kendama but still offers some awesome features in today's game, it's just amazing. Really thick in the serrato, and has, you know, a perfect size in terms of width on the serrato. It also has really thick stall points on the cups, so your stalls hook on really nicely. It has a thinner sword, so then we get this nice area for the gunslinger still, even though this thing is a lunar god. Thick base cup for your taps and instas. Base cup hole, which is freaking huge, but doesn't really impact the slingers that much at all. Also features this locking system with the ring and the underbird right there, which is amazing. In height, it's pretty short as well, so it's not too long or anything like that, and it's just overall fun to grab because of the weight of this thing and because of the way it's shaped. Juggles, taps, ken flips, it's all fun, and the fact that this lunars so well without sacrificing the gunslingers just makes it a really good overall kendama. When I was playing the 2021 every single day, this made me stop playing with that. And then I also picked this back up after playing with the Lock Studio shape for like 2 months, and then I stopped playing the Lock Studio shape for a bit because I was playing with this thing. This thing is just, there's no other words for it. And I know the Ascent came out from Serial and I haven't tried it yet, so that's why it's not on this list. But if it's anything like this or even better, it's gonna be hard to top that one. This thing is amazing. Serial Kendama makes some amazing products, and if you haven't tried a hybrid too, like, go try it. This thing is amazing. So there it is. The Serial Hybrid is the number 1 kendama of 2022 for me. Whew, I made it through that video finally, and I feel good. That was a lot of kendamas and a lot of talking, but hope that helps you. This video wasn't meant to bash on any kendama companies, and it wasn't meant to like tell you guys that what I think is right. It's more of just like to help you guys try to figure out what shapes you want to play next or what you haven't tried, and you know, if you want to take from my opinion or not. I hope it does help you. Again, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below what your top 10 were or what shape you thought should have belonged on this list. I'm all ears and I want to hear what y'all have to say. I hope you enjoy videos like this. I'm going to be doing another top something video soon. You will see that, and I hope y'all enjoy that one when that comes out. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe button, hit post notifications so you can be one of the first to watch these videos when they come out, and obviously sharing the video goes a long way for the channel. This is KendramaCo Kendama, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.